The biggest thing when you're getting into reporting and analytics is you need really good data. And one of the ways to get that is to ensure that the employee that's populating the data has a visual, right? It doesn't become this black hole of they're reporting hazards or they're reporting issues they've seen in the field or they're doing an inspection and they don't get to see that data then being utilized in an analytic way. We'd love to say that, none of us are in kindergarten anymore, but we all love gold stars. We're all still those kindergarten kids that, want to be able to see that the information we're sharing is being recognized. And so when you land into a system, when you land into any type of analytics where you're trying to show people what they need to be doing, always have something there that they can then see, okay, my job revolves around reporting health and safety incidents, but I can also see that in the last 7 days, there were 64 incidents reported. There were 27 hazards reported. And make that data also accessible so we can limit some of those emails that are going out so that that data doesn't become white noise. When they land in, they can see and they can click on that information and see which location it was reported, what the description is, when it was reported, being able to give them a good overview of what is taking place. We can also have something that has a lot of filtering. So when it comes to those analytics, like Lauren was mentioning, you want to see maybe your lost time breakdown, you want to see your year over year counts, and maybe I want to filter by only my high severity details. So for any of my incidents and my findings and my near misses, and having all of that information readily available, but easy to be able to slice through and filter it. And by having multiple different filters. So it could be by year, it could be by quarter, it could be by employee, could be by location. Having that data available and then having it basically almost an a la carte for the user coming in where they can slice and dice it as they would like to do those analytics. So, like Lauren kind of went through in your kind of 5 whys, you may have 5 or 6 different filters that are there so that people can drill down and find the information that is either relevant for their location, is relevant for their job, to be able to really see where they need to mitigate those risks and kind of move forward. Also, taking an approach similar to what Lauren had mentioned is correlating that data across different data sets. She used the divorce and margarine. But if we want to look at, say, what's the correlation between our incident or our injury rates and how quickly we're training employees, or against how many leading observations we're having. So we have injuries being a lagging indicator, observations being a leading indicator, and training hours being a leading but also just almost a compliance requirement. And starting to try to analyze is, do we see an increase in incidents when we see our observations decline? Do these two correlate in any way? So being able to take that information and inlay it over top of one another, being able to give you a good understanding of where these different factors may impact your results. Going in and also to Lauren's point of looking at things in a comparable, it's that repetitive element, being able to show graphics that are showing this is our sustainability reporting, right? Looking at maybe our usage and what our outputs are, and having these be very simple, very concise, and that repetitive nature does help employees take that information in because they're looking at something that is familiar. And when they're looking at a total amount and looking at it in the same function, it makes it easier for them to digest. And it also makes it easy to do a bit of comparison without even having to overlay those data points. I can look at, my total production and my total employees, and I'm seeing a direct correlation. As I have more employees, I have better production. So you can have those where you're being able to see those comparisons, having your rates and having different things being accessible. And again, having things being able to be drilled through to find out key information or live interacted with, where they can unclick elements in the charts to be able to look at specific information, making things interactive for the user. Also, being able to have this tie to an overall objective or target. Again, having that gold star or that green light, employees want to see how far they are along at maybe reaching a target. And having these be a positive target is definitely impactful and can help your employees to give you better data that you can then do analytics on. And wanting to ensure, again, we can filter that information. So having just a static chart, like Lauren had mentioned, right? Data is very static. Having it interactive makes the employee feel like they are able to drill into the information that they feel is relevant. And we've come so far with not having to just have an Excel where then I've got to change a column to look at it in a different way. We can just add that quick filter if they just want to see things that they're responsible for. So if Andy only wants to see his, or Marco, then those charts can then modify and he can see where he's doing, how he is doing. And again, that can be related to safety statistics, quality statistics, sustainability, or just an overall corporate target. You really want to ensure that the data you're sharing is not just for corporate. It's not just for your executives. It's also for those end users, because those end users are the ones that are giving you the data. And the more engaged they feel, the better your data is going to be. So the more in-depth your analytics can be.